Hello, hello. Happy July and welcome to your July numerology forecast. I'm so excited to share this energy because July is a 7 energy month. So, if you want to know how to calculate the numbers, it's really quite easy. You just add the year digits, so 2 plus 2 plus 5 plus the 7, okay? You get 16, and then the 1 plus the 6 equals the 7. So, people think, well, July is a 7 month typically. Not in numerology. This only happens once every 9 years. So, because 2025 is 9 energy, this creates this massive amplification energy where everything gets amplified. We are in this 9 energy year where cycles want to come to completion and we are meant to see a higher perspective and set a higher standard for ourselves. And what that often means is closures and things coming to completion and cycles that want to end. So when you look at July, how do we see this show up with the 7? The 7 is a number that often people would associate with spirituality for lots of different reasons. But when I come back to what 7 really means and why we make those associations is because 7 is all about trusting yourself and having this fierce faith and trust in your intuition. It's about not relying on the external world and the advice of others and what people will tell you and to do and not do, but actually going inwards and asking yourself, what does my heart and soul long to experience? And that is why I say that 7 is for the free spirits, the wild-hearted people, the people who are here to march to the beat of their own drum, the people who are here to shake things up and do things differently because they don't want to follow the status quo. And 7 doesn't want you to. 7 wants you to go deep within your own heart and soul to figure out what seems right to you, what your intuition is guiding you towards, and take that leap of faith, take that risky action, do something differently. If you keep doing the same thing you've always done, then what you're really doing is continuing to repeat old patterns. And in order to do something new, to have a new experience, it actually requires you to do something completely different, to do something out of the norm. So even if you're like, I don't know what to do, I don't know where I'm going, which is what I'm hearing from people quite common right now. A lot of people are facing lots of uncertainty and things where they're like, I feel like I need to make some changes, but I don't know where I'm headed. Right? And in this July month, if you're feeling that, my advice and recommendation would be if you don't know where to go, just do something. Do something different to shake it up. Go on an adventure. Put yourself in a different room than you normally would. Take a different route than you normally would. Just shake things up a little bit and open up your senses. One of the things I don't think we talk about enough is that every single person has an incredibly powerful intuition and a wide range of senses that are available to them that cannot be explained, right, with, you know, obvious data. We are picking up intuitively things that you can't put your finger on all the time. And you know this because certain people you feel drawn to, certain rooms you don't want to enter, those feelings you get when you're like, oh, I'm going to take a different route or I'm not going to go in. I was just talking to a friend today where she had bought tickets to an event and pulled into the driveway and was sitting there in the parking lot and just couldn't go in. And that's your intuition speaking and telling you that there is a reason why you need to be somewhere else. That's not your space for you. And so July wants us to fiercely trust those messages that we're receiving and take a leap of faith. Take a risky action. Try something new. Be willing to shake it up a little bit and do things a little bit differently. So if you're catching me live or replay, comment, let me know you're here. I'm just going to quickly tag and let you guys know that I am here. And if you're seeing this, I would love for you to share it out with your friends. Post it on your socials, tag some friends in the comments so that more people can have access to this insight, because I do this so that you have that sense of, how do I want to navigate the month ahead? How can I use the energy that's unfolding in my favor to work with me according to my goals, my dreams, that kind of thing? So 7, take the risk. Take time for your intuitive practices because intuition's a muscle. It doesn't get developed in a vacuum. It gets developed by experimentation and trying new things and then receiving that feedback loop of like, oh, I felt like I should do this. I did, and here's what happened, right? That feedback loop is really, really important. The other thing that's important is a practice. So whether it's numerology, working with cards, working with the stars, whatever intuitive modality that you like to work with, practice it in July because it wants to be strengthened. It wants to be developed even deeper. And some people think that if you have an intuition, then you should never experience doubt around it. And I'm here to say that's absolutely not true. You might have an incredibly powerful intuition, but you can still question and doubt it. Just because you question it doesn't mean that it's not there or it's not working, right? So give yourself some space to reflect, to question, and to experiment anyways, right? It's like the whole idea of failing forward. So the shadow traits of the seven, some of the things that you could struggle with the seven will be things like when you're stuck, you're really stuck. When you feel like you're stuck in the mud, you're just like, it's like cement in your feet. And so the antidote is being willing to move without all the answers, without all the data, right? Be willing to move, even small incremental steps. And sometimes that can be metaphorical, right? Like if you don't know what's the next move to make in your career, go for a walk outside. If you don't know how to improve the relationships in your life, do a yoga class. Like movement is key. Grounding is key. Bare feet outside, hugging a tree, planting and gardening and harvesting, all of these things, this like working with earth energy is very important in the seven. It's a very earth-based number that thrives on flow and movement. Another shadow trait of the seven is to excessively need the input of others. So it's like you're trying to make a decision, and rather than just like making the decision, you ask so and so, and then you're like, I need another opinion. I need another opinion. Like, I'm gonna ask ChatGPT and all my best friends. Like, no, there's a time and a place for that. But if you find yourself excessively leaning on the advice of others, you're in the shadow of the seven. The seven wants you to go within and trust your heart. And a really good confidant or a really good trusted advisor is someone who says, you know what, here's what I'm picking up, but you need to trust your intuition on this one. You need to trust your gut on this one. Whatever you feel is the right action to take, I will support you. And I think that's really important to recognize when we're going to other people for advice. If they're the kind of people who are like, you have to take my advice or I'm not giving it to you, then it's like, whoa, hold on. Like, I want to receive advice and feedback, but then I'm going to check it against my gut and intuition, and I'm going to do what feels right for me to do. So those people in your life, you want the kind of people who reinforce that and say, here's what I'm picking up, but whichever action you take, I support you, right? I believe in you. I trust you. You're fully capable, and I'll back you whatever you decide. Like, that's a good friend, right? That's a really good friend. Okay, do you guys think you're ready to go into some of the dates and some of the specifics of July? So we're already a couple days in. It's July 4th right now, and July 4th actually is a very interesting energy day because it is about connection, and it's also about recognizing the ability we have to persuade and influence others. That our energy, that being in community with other people, we can persuade and influence others more easily. And this can happen to the benefit as well as to the challenge, right? The concept of group think. It's like when you come together with people, you all start to kind of think and speak the same. Right? Which is, when people say like-minded, it's like, well, it's good to, be surrounded with people with the same values as you, but you really want everyone to think the same as you? Or would you prefer some like diversification of thoughts and ideas so that you could grow and you can expand? So recognizing like, where am I putting myself in the room where it's kind of an echo chamber versus where am I allowing myself to be in new rooms with new ideas? I may or may not be understanding it or fully on board, but just being exposed to it is enough to help my mind open up to new possibilities and potential. Then as we move forward into this month of July, the very interesting thing about July in a general theme is that we are really building this idea that who I am is valuable, worthy, and precious, just in my beingness. It doesn't matter what I say. It doesn't matter what I do. It does not matter my resume or my accomplishments. Who I am just as I am, is valuable, precious, and worthy. And we are looking to anchor that belief in. And the more we do, the stronger those intuitive hits are going to come through, and the easier it's going to be to bet on yourself. When you find yourself precious, valuable, and worthy, then you believe you're worthy of that risk and that decision and putting yourself out there and taking that next step towards your dreams. When your self-worth is low, it's really hard to take action towards your dreams and goals because you don't necessarily see that you're worthy of them, right? And so building self-care, self-love, treating yourself the way you want to be treated, building your self-love tank, filling your bucket, whatever analogy that is, just taking good care of yourself. And this isn't just like bubble baths and sunshine and rainbows. It's about fiercely taking care of yourself, right? Which sometimes requires hard decisions and sometimes requires, hard work, right? Taking yourself out for your walks and making sure you're meal prepping and nourishing yourself in good and healthy ways and making sure you have good boundaries and that your friendships and relationships and your communities are nourishing to you, right? These are all things that we reinforce in our self-value, self-worth, and what we believe we're worthy of, right? So as we move towards the 10th of the month, what's really going to be illuminated is this energy of I'm willing to step more into that and see my worth to a greater level than I have in the past, and I'm willing to bet on myself. So this is a great time to take an action or make a decision where you're betting on yourself, right? That you are your own best investment, that you are willing to put yourself out there and take the actions you need to do, the mindset, the energy work, the financial investment, whatever that looks like in your thing. But it's like, I believe I'm worthy and valuable. And so I'm going to stand behind myself and support myself through this thing that's important to me, whether it's a relationship, a health decision, a career decision, and invest in yourself, right? An investment can happen with money, time, and energy. So asking yourself, how am I invested in myself? Where am I invested in myself? Or does my time belong to others more than myself? And that's a really, key and critical and potentially heartbreaking question to ask yourself. Where does my time belong to myself versus others? So that's the 10th of the month. That's a really important reflection. And then as you move into the 17th of the month, you're really being asked to up-level your communication, particularly in relationships. So it does kind of feel like, where have people been sort of running me over a little bit, where I need to set better boundaries or a stronger container? Or where is it that I need to carve out more effective time to take care of what I need, what my priorities are, what's important to me? Because so often, and I'm speaking from my lens as well as the lens of so many of my clients, where many of us have children, many of us are parents, and many of us are women. And we often have this feeling of, we come last on the list, right? We take care of the family, we take care of the business, the children, all of these things. And that whatever leftover energy exists, I'll give myself like 5 minutes. That is not sustainable and is not healthy and is not setting up our children for success or anything, right? And so it really does feel like on the 17th of the month, we're being asked to communicate our needs more clearly and ask for help, ask for buy-in, ask for the resources we need so that we can choose ourselves just a little bit more. Up-leveling communication to up-level your relationships. That's what the 17th of the month is all about. And then starting on the 21st, we're entering a new manifestation cycle. And this manifestation cycle feels very important on the 21st of July because it is all about having a greater level of access to spiritual wisdom and knowledge. So if you are looking to grow your soul gifts or your spiritual gifts in any way, shape, or form, then the 21st of the month is a really great time to start a new intention or a new manifestation around that spiritual connection that's important to you. So it might be doing some practices, reading a book, taking a training, getting a reading, booking a course, booking a session with someone. If you would like a numerology session, feel free to reach out to me. And this is a great time to really set some new intentions around your spiritual connections and your spiritual gifts. Then Oh, let me also speak a little bit about the Oria Goddess Festival, which starts on the 17th of July and runs until the 20th of July. And I'm going to be a participant of this festival, and that I'm going to be doing goddess themed numerology readings, which I'm very excited about. And I think that Shannon picked the perfect weekend to run this event because in this window of time, we are letting, like when I look at the numerology of it, we are letting go of mindsets and belief systems that don't serve us anymore. And we are stepping into the greater version of ourselves, to a more expanded versions of ourselves. So this is a great weekend to work on your personal up level, whether you're doing it at the festival with this incredible group of women who are all going to be doing this inner work together, or whether you're doing it on your own at home, in your own personal house, in your own retreat. But recognizing that between the 18th and the 20th, I have an opportunity to shed some old ways of being that don't serve me and that keep me small, and to be reborn into this expanded, more powerful, more potent version of myself, and into my strength. There's this really strong energy coming through about our inner strength and how that's reflected outward. And it's truly this harmony and this balance between feeling strong in my body and in my skin, but it's also feeling strong in my heart and my soul and my mind. That all of these need to come together to create this beautiful energetic alignment. So, Shannon, you picked the perfect weekend, numerology speaking, for this goddess festival. It's going to be incredibly aligned because then when everyone gets back on Monday, the 21st, it's that new manifestation cycle around expanding our spiritual gifts and our spiritual understanding. So, what a beautiful way to wrap that up. So, then as we move into the 25th of July, it's a great time to be creative and playful. So, what does creativity look like to you? What is playfulness and gentleness and softness, and what does that look like to you? If you can take some summer vacation, if you can go to the beach, if you can do some art, do something playful and gentle and creative to yourself, because your mind wants to be opened up in new creative ways, right? So this is a great time to do that. And then as we wrap up the rest of the month of July, it's really relationships that are going to be at the forefront of our mind, and recognizing who are those people where I get to be my best self. They have my back, I have their back, and there's this beautiful sense of reciprocity. I had this very profound and fulfilling conversation today with a friend, and we were talking about the difference between how we can feel independent and we can survive in that way versus the interdependence and the thriving, right? And it's like, I can do everything myself, but am I thriving or am I surviving? Whereas when we give and take with each other, share and receive with each other, we create this beautiful interdependence where our nervous systems get to be recalibrated and balanced together because we are coded to heal together. And not only that, but we get to bring the best of ourselves to each other. And that is such a sacred gift that contributes to our thriving. So that about sums up the month of July. If you are catching me live or on the replay, I would love for you to share this out. Tag your friends, post it to your social media so that people can access this. It will be up on YouTube as well as up on my podcast. And comment below and let me know, what's your number one takeaway? What's the thing that really stuck, that really hit, that you needed to hear today, that's going to support you this month of July? All right. Thank you so much for being with me here today. And I'm just sending you so much love, blessing, abundance, and powerful intuition for the month of July. Mwah. We'll talk to you soon. Bye.